afternoon, and thank you for being here. My name is Jesse Klinkhamer, and I'm the CEO of Klean Industries and the founder of Klean Industries. We're headquartered in Vancouver, Canada. Despite the lack of scrap tires in Canada, it's kind of funny to be a bit of a leader in the processing of scrap tires in Canada. The company itself is focused on thermal technologies that process municipal solid waste, scrap tires, automotive shredder residues using gasification, pyrolysis, and carbonization technologies. We are a portfolio-based company. We buy up IP, we don't invent IP. So that makes us very different than some of the other speakers here today who have perfected a reactor or perfected a pyrolysis process. We go out after commercial technology, we find it, we know that it's commercial, we go through stringent due diligence tests, and then we acquire that IP, and then we implement that IP elsewhere. So my background is I've been in the resource sector in Canada for over 20 years. I've developed a number of companies, and around the time of Kyoto, the talk of new energy, where was it going to come from, and carbon capture and carbon emissions, led to some innovative thinking amongst myself and some business partners, and that we saw an opportunity in the waste space. Just like we saw opportunities in mining, we saw waste as a potential opportunity to mine for resources. So we looked at it a little differently than others, and we didn't want to be, as I said earlier, inventing technology. We wanted to be implementing technology. So I've been, much like Martin, I consult with a lot of large companies from British Petroleum, Dow Chemical, and numerous others. Some of the unique things that we do that Martin sort of highlighted a little earlier is we've done a number of first-of-a-kind sort of projects as well. So as Martin highlighted, there's an opportunity in India. We build, because we manufacture our own equipment from start to finish, both the front end, the middle, the back end, we're in a very good commercial position in that we're able to sell certain components independently. So we actually have a number of carbon refineries in India. We have a capacity of about 50,000 metric tons annually, where we take other people's char from low-grade processes, and then we put it through one of our plants to improve the properties of the product, mill it, pelletize it, and then distribute it into the Indian marketplace. It's not just India, we also do that elsewhere in the world as well. That also makes us considerably different. We've also done some co-producing plants on the power side with coal. We're producing liquid fuels during off-peak demand, and then peak demand we're producing electricity. So we've done some really innovative stuff. I've been working with the United Nations Environment Program since 2008. I also sit on as an active member of the ASTM Society with Martin for D36 and numerous others on the voting panel as well. So a good question to ask is, what are Klean Industries? Klean Industries are companies that take a holistic view at the raw materials they use, their energy requirements, and the products they produce. And then they look at their complete supply chain to improve how they do business. So in a sense, by doing so, the bonus is that they lower their environmental footprint. And we're seeing this time and time again throughout industry. It is now a new industrial sort of revolution with larger scale companies. They're starting to take some pretty big strides forward in improving their product supply lines. Hence our name, which is Klean Industries. We're all about cleaning up industry and providing technology that can make a significant improvement to how business is done. So just a quick sort of overview of a corporate snapshot. We were incorporated in 2005 to purchase a portfolio of commercial grade technologies. We've since done so. We have a technology history of over 60 years that our portfolio has been implemented in various projects around the globe, not just for tires, but for a whole host of waste streams in total. With technology and IP we own, there's over 500 references of our IP and patents being used in commercial applications for processing waste. We've got verified and proven results from various governments, independent laboratories, from EPC firms to private development facilities like Akron Rubber Development Laboratories. Our team is all highly specialized in that we've been in this industry and the energy game for a really long time. So we took a little bit of a different look at how things have been done traditionally and why there's been some failures in this space, and then sort of did it from the other angle so that we could avoid a lot of the pitfalls that have happened in the marketplace. Today, we have in excess of 100,000 tons of recovered carbon black being produced and distributed in our network. We're currently doing business with companies like Dow Chemical, as I said, Sims Metal Recycling, and numerous others. We look at, on an annual basis, in excess of about $1 billion worth of deal flow. Through that, we see a number of projects of all kinds and all scales. And as we put them through a very tight funnel of due diligence, it'll spit out a handful of projects that are worthy of even talking about. So that's one thing we've learned about this technology space, is you have to be very stringent in how you evaluate technologies. And we'll get into that a little bit further in my presentation. So due diligence defines expertise in our mind. So if we look at the current state of technologies and costs, in our minds, the way we see things, is that there really is no need to invent new widgets. There's enough commercial technology in the marketplace today to produce all the high quality product you need from a wide range of feedstocks. We all know that the global consumption for these products is significant. Oil is already 90 million barrels a day. As Martin highlighted, the demand for recovered carbon black far exceeds the supply. So that leads me to another question. So why is this market still fumbling along? Why is it still not growing at the pace one would think it would? Well, fundamentally, there's a problem with accountability, and there's a problem with transparency. There's a fine line between the strategy and transparency with businesses, but in today's world, they're pretty much the same thing. If you want to succeed in today's world, transparency and strategy have to be right up at the front so that everybody can see what you're doing. There's been a lack of quantifiable due diligence in that a lot of companies out there are failing to prove the math. So the financial data behind the business models, the science behind the products being produced and the production data, and the feedstock volumes and the output product along with market prices. All of those things have been somewhat vague with many other companies in this space. So it's led to a lot of misinformation and a lack of confidence in the industry. And I believe that's what's held up the pyrolysis industry as a whole, is not clarifying this data and a lot of smoke and mirrors with respect to just wanting to sell equipment and put equipment out in the marketplace and not actually producing a meaningful product that can go back into industry. So that's led people to see tires negatively. So how do we change that? Well, we see the opportunity, and that next solution is the tokenization of the tire industry. And that's the incorporation of blockchain technology with smart contracts, where you're able to provide complete transparency on what's called the decentralized distributed ledger. This provides efficient payment that's a trustless transaction that's established before you do business. It's traceable, it's trackable. It allows you to create almost like the Uber of waste, in that it's a seamless transaction between verified parties that already meet the due diligence. It allows for optical characterization and QR coding and tracking of implementing data into seamless transactions. There are improvements significantly on the logistics side of tracking waste, moving waste, and shipping even equipment. You can also improve the performance of corporate social responsibility, because now you can be completely transparent about your operations and how your company and technology operates, because both the supply side of feeding the facility is fully open and transparent, as is the finished product sales side. So we also see this as the next sort of what we call the last mile of technology. We believe that if you can build a tokenized system on a particular self-sorting waste, you can incentivize people to get involved because they're rewarded for being green, for being mindful of waste management, and it encourages people to participate in the process of waste management, including tire recycling. And it applies to all kinds of waste. So it enables the growth of the circular economy and the ability for adoption to happen at a much faster rate.
At Klean Industries, all waste has value. The Klean Loop, built on blockchain technology, will create a secure marketplace for the buying and selling of commodities and services surrounding recycling and waste management. All Klean Loop users have access to accurate real-time industry data and smart contracts for quick and credible transactions with efficient payment options. Meet Arnold, the brain behind the Klean Loop. With the use of artificial intelligence machine learning, he solves your waste and recycling problems. This innovative and easy-to-use interface allows all users to navigate the Klean Loop. Arnold's photo recognition and text input utilities identify, calculate volume, and evaluate all kinds of waste. Arnold also makes sure that all transactions are incentivized and that Klean Loop participants are rewarded. Let's say you're an American tire pyrolysis facility that processes over 60 tons of scrap tires a day. That's 20,000 metric tons annually, or 2 million tires. The plant runs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and you need a steady and consistent supply of tires. Shipping is expensive, and the quality of feedstock is extremely important. This is challenging at the best of times. You need a better solution. As a Klean Loop user, you know all waste has value, so let's ask Arnold, who has it, where is it, and how much it's going to cost. You need 1,000 metric tons of a specific composition of tire at a primary shred size and to know your logistics budget for shipping. So you choose the text input utility to enter your scrap tire specifications. All you have to do is upload your spreadsheet into the text utility. Arnold then searches the Klean Loop for the best possible recycled tire solutions. Arnold gives you 3 options: pickup, delivery service, or clean bid. Arnold has a number of tire recyclers on the Klean Loop, so you select delivery service, which brings your tire feedstock directly to your facility. Arnold sends the query out to potential feedstock providers on the Klean Loop. A large regional tire recycler is located. The recycler responds with the offer of 15 clean coin per ton of single-pass shredded scrap tire to your specifications, including shipping, and to deliver your 1,000 tons of feedstock in 2 business days. The offer is reasonable, and you press accept. The tire recycler has a trucking company they use for regional shipments and sends them the bill of lading through the Klean Loop. They arrange payment and time of pickup. When the trucking company shows up at the collection facility, the driver opens the DApp and confirms the order details. Arnold confirms the tonnage and specifications for the trucking service, and the driver presses accept. The containers of shredded tire are loaded and shipped to your pyrolysis facility. Upon arrival, the shipment is weighed and confirmed by Arnold. The primary shredded tires are added to the other sources of feedstock. The primary shredded tires are then run through your facility's secondary shredder, removing the fiber and steel, preparing the processed tire feedstock for pyrolysis. The secondary shredded tires are fed directly into the pyrolysis reactor, where it is gasified and distilled into diesel fuel. A portion of the recovered fuel and heat is utilized to produce steam, and the recovered carbon black is pelletized and bagged. The pelletized recovered carbon black is sold to a regional auto parts manufacturer. The excess steam is sold to a neighboring food processing facility. The recovered diesel fuel is sold to a local oil refinery. The recovered steel is sold to a nearby rebar factory, and the tire fiber is sold to a local cement plant, all via the Klean Loop, which creates a circular economy. Now that everything has been confirmed by Arnold, the exchange of clean coin can now proceed. You transfer 15,000 clean coin to the tire recyclers, and the validator receives 375 clean coin. From the products produced during the pyrolysis process, the exchanges are initiated with the other established Klean Loop users. The auto parts manufacturer transfers you 340,000 clean coin for the pelletized recovered carbon black. The food processing facility transfers 165,000 Clean Coin for the steam. You receive 110,000 Clean Coin from the refinery who purchased the recovered diesel fuel. You receive 18,000 Clean Coin for the recovered steel from the rebar factory. You then receive 250 Clean Coin for the fiber from the cement plant. And last but not least, the validator earns 15,625 Clean Coin for validation of all transactions and is added to the blockchain. And there we have it. Another quick, efficient, and secure regional waste exchange successfully completed on the Clean Loop. Arnold is now ready to provide another resource recovery solution.
So it's a unique approach. We have a DApp, it's functioning. We are in the process of implementing this technology globally with our existing facilities that are operating, whether it's a biomass facility or a Tyre pyrolysis facility. We're in the process of streamlining all of the operations and essentially making everything on a DLT so that it's open, transparent, and what you look at and it says in the tin is exactly what it does. The first priority is tokenizing tire waste for us. We found a need to solve a lot of issues around getting paid on time, deliveries on time, quality of product being delivered on time, operating data and matrix. So it just made sense to us that, well, tires are self-sorting. It's a naturally inherent product that would fit so perfectly well with an infrastructure, an ecosystem such as the Clean Loop. It would solve a lot of issues. It would speed up the rates of recycling and adoption of recycling. It could change the outlook of how things are done. And in fact, a tire could be tracked from its very beginnings all the way through the process. And I'm not sitting here thinking pyrolysis is the solution to scrap tire recycling, because it's not. It's just part of the overall puzzle. I mean, conservation of a resource is ultimately the cheapest form of environmentalism possible. So that leads kindly to tire remanufacturing and retreading, and then moving into material recovery, and pyrolysis plays a part in that. But it is by no means the number one solution. It's just a key piece of a multitude of applications that fit within the tire recycling space.